Hello everyone, it's Diego Doom here, and I'm bringing you another review. Today I'll be reviewing UltraAct GeneBot. Okay, so UltraAct GeneBot is a very unique figure for the UltraAct line. First off, as far as I'm aware of, this is the first non-Ultraman figure in the UltraAct line, so it's very neat and very cool and just quite the surprise. Now, I'm not actually sure how to pronounce GeneBot's name. I've heard some people say John Bot, like I guess like French, like kind of like Jean-Claude Van Damme. But for now, I'm just going to be calling him GeneBot. So in the comments below, let me know if I have that correct or incorrect. But first off, GeneBot comes from the second Ultraman Zero movie. I think it was Revenge of Belial. It's been a while since I've seen that movie, and I've only seen it like once, so it didn't really kind of stick with me for a while. It wasn't a terrible movie or anything like that. It was just, a pretty neat and very cool character, and I was very surprised that they were going to do a figure of GeneBot. But regardless, GeneBot is here. He's very neat, very cool, and he comes with a lot of cool accessories. So first, let's check out GeneBot's accessories. Okay, so let's look at GeneBot's accessories. GeneBot comes with a couple of accessories, but they're all very cool. So GeneBot comes with one pair of hands, a rocket punch accessory, a beam blade attachment, and his battle axe. So first, let's look at GeneBot's hands. So GeneBot's hands here are very nicely sculpted, very neat, and very cool. Now, as you know, GeneBot is a robot, so he has his mecha hands here, and they are absolutely on point with the sculpt. Very metal-like and robotic type hands. Very nice sculpting, very, very nice detailing. So this here is very, very cool. Very cool hand. And these hands attached by a ball joint peg here for GeneBot. So, like so, you have GeneBot here, and all you have to do, this little piece here on his shoulder, it comes separate. I've noticed mine is a little loose. I'm not sure if that's just a common issue, but I think you can just get like just a little bit of nail polish just to kind of add some friction or something, like kind of fling around. But once you have it up and straight, it'll be fine. So you'll probably see this kind of flip and flop around. But, it doesn't to take away from the figure, just something minor, and it may just be mine only. But with GeneBot's hands here, his hands just removed pretty easy. I don't think that hand was on as snug as it should have been on the first place. But all you gotta do is just plug it in here, and voila, not absolutely voila, but let's see, just plug that in. Oops. Having a little bit of issue, not really an issue. He has a very thin joint here, so it's kind of strange. So let's see if I can get that on there. Got it. There we go. Just takes a little bit of finessing and everything like that. So, very nice, very neat, very cool hand here and stuff like that. So it's great for holding things, which is meant to hold his battle axe. So, let's just go ahead and demonstrate that battle axe. Let's take a look at GeneBot's battle axe right here. So, GeneBot's battle axe is very cool. The head here, a nice shiny metallic red. GeneBot has that in his body also, and it's very cool. The blade parts of his axe are translucent green to give that kind of that beam saber effect. So it's definitely cool. You can kind of see that shining through here and everything too. So it's definitely cool. And then on the back here, nice detailing, very mechanical and robotic, pretty cool. And another thing, his axe is very, 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 very long. Very long. And that's pretty cool, just this gigantic, oversized axe. It's definitely cool. Definitely cool. And how this slides into GeneBot's hand, so you can get an idea of what he looks like with his axe, as if it's not demonstrated in the video in the beginning. All you have to do, just kind of slide this down in his hand here. Got to kind of focus that so we can get a good look-see at that. Or just back it up. So you got to slide this down here. Now his fingers don't actually grip it all that well. I think I've kind of manipulated them enough to where they'll fit in fine. But sometimes they kind of get off track from the fingers, and that's just a matter of kind of opening the fingers a little bit up and just kind of tucking this axe in. So it's very, very neat. Very cool. And one thing you'll notice, GeneBot's arm piece that's normally here just came off. I just pulled that off just so it's easier. And this piece is important for when you're using the beam saber, which we'll go over in just a second. But Genebot with his axe looks very, 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 very cool. It's a very cool accessory, and I really like it for him. Very cool. Very neat. Very cool. So next, let's look at Genebot's beam saber, since we've jumped into that kind of thing right there. So Genebot's beam saber here attaches just like so. So what you have to do, his arm piece here removes, and what this arm piece here looks like, just this piece here, because Genebot is a transforming robot. It comes from a plane that's meant to protect a Queen character or something like that in the movie. I haven't seen the movie in a long time, but protects the Queen. So this is a transforming robot, so I'm pretty sure this is like the headpiece of the ship. And how this the beam blade attachment attaches. You have the blade here, so it's a nice green translucent piece, give that beam saber effect. And it pegs in down here on the blade. So we'll just go ahead and plug that in. Fits in nice and snug. So this is Genebot's blade attachment here. Pretty neat, very cool. And then you just go ahead and attach that to Genebot's arm. Because now normally this piece here is flipped the other way, and then it rotates around so you can extend his beam saber. So that's pretty cool. You just kind of pegged it into the obvious hole there on his arm. And there you have Genebot with his very long and extended beam saber. So we can get that to focus. There we go. So very cool and very neat. So very nice part effect there. It's very cool. So Genebot's final effect part is his rocket punch blast effect. Now, I'm a Mazinger fan, so I'm going to call it rocket punch because any robot's arms that shoot off, that's a rocket punch. But I'm pretty sure there's a proper attack name for it in the movie. I'm just not recalling it. But with this rocket punch effect part, all you have to do is remove Genebot's right arm if he's, we're facing the other way. Or his left arm, excuse me. So his left arm, he has an extended peg here. So it's very cool. And all you have to do is grab this rocket effect part here. And this rocket effect part, it's very nicely sculpted, very nicely detailed. It's all plastic. It's more of a soft plastic in the center and somewhat hard on the edges. I wouldn't say it's absolute hard plastic, but somewhat sharp. But still very neat and very cool. And how this attaches, all you have to do, excuse me for 1 second, all you have to do is just take Genebot's arm piece here. First, we'll take his forearm. It's kind of easier to do his forearm first. Take his forearm here, plug this in right like so. And there's there we go. Fits in nice, neat, and snug. So you have that blast off effect here. And one thing that's cool, as far as the detailing on Genebot's arms, which I'll get into in just a second, they include the boosters on the inner part of his arm. So that's a fantastic attention to detail and very neat and very cool. So we'll just plug that in here. Very cool. And then you plug the other piece into his arm here, and it does fit in here in a particular way to kind of meet the groove for his elbow. See if we can get that in there. Yeah. Okay. So I have Genebot's arm kind of turned around. But, let's see. It should go like so, but I could be getting that wrong. Ooh. Very tight joint, very tight joint. So, Genebot's arm effect part kind of pops in here. There's a hole inside of here too, so you just line that up. And there you have Genebot with his blasting arm. I'm sorry, it's upside down. Genebot with his blasting arm. I don't have this in all the way. I have to kind of play with it to get it in, but it's not hard to attach. I'm just not doing it right. I'm not sure what's going on, but this is Genebot with his rocket punch effect part. So this is very neat and very cool and a very nice addition. Now I'm pretty sure it only applies to his right arm. I'm pretty sure his left arm doesn't attach. I haven't messed with it, but I'm kind of afraid to break it or anything like that because I know his GeneBot has a lot of tight joints. But this is a very neat and very cool effect part, so it's greatly appreciated and a very nice attention to detail. So it's pretty cool. So this covers all of GeneBot's accessories. Next, let's check out the figure review itself. Okay, let's move on to the GeneBot figure review itself. So initially, GeneBot is a fantastic figure and just a huge surprise and switch up for the Ultrac line. GeneBot has a very nice crimson red about him, so it's very cool. It's definitely not a flat red, but almost a metallic, but not, it's not a bursting shiny metallic, but it's not also a flat red, kind of like with the Ultraman Gaia figure. It was a nice, almost metallic silver, but not quite flat. So this is greatly sculpted, fantastic detail, great articulation, and yet another well-done figure in the Ultrac line. So let's look at GeneBot. Let's look at GeneBot's articulation. So first off, GeneBot's head here. Get that going right there. GeneBot's head here is on a ball joint, and it seems like his head is a little bit hindered, turning left or right due to his collar. So you might be able to do some 360 motion, but I'm not really going to do that because I don't want to max that out or hurt anything. But GeneBot has a good range of forward and back movement. He can look very far down and look straight ahead and a little bit up. So it's very cool. GeneBot's, sculpt head here. This nice, what do you call him? Trojan warrior head type thing going on here. Very neat, very cool. Just overall, a very cool robot here. He has his wing piece here, which is part of the transformation. It'd been neat if this was, honestly, this could be part of his axe. I'm not really sure, but it'd be cool if it is. It probably is. But this piece is a little bit loose. That's just something probably just my figure, and it just attaches to his shoulder, so it's pretty cool. Now, as far as GeneBot's arms, his arms, kind of separated his arm right there, forearm. His arms could come out about this far, not a ton of range and movement, but I just think that's just his overall design. So that's fine. And then his arms can turn up pretty high. I think you can get a 360 out of it, but the joints on my figure are awfully tight, so I'm not really going to try and max that out or anything like that. So GeneBot's forearm here, once you get it turned around properly, he has a double jointed elbow, so it's very neat, very cool, even though it separates, which it just did. So it's pretty cool. And you'll notice the fine detailings here. I'm tempted to say some of these pegs here might be die cast, so that's very cool if they are. Haven't really looked into it or really sat there and tested it myself, but I think some of these parts might be die cast. So it's cool. You have GeneBot's forearm here, which I just separated, but it has very nice detailing. You have his rocket boosters here in the back of his arms. Just very cool. Just a very cool figure. Okay. In GeneBot's chest area, he has a lot of movement. He can kind of move side to side. He has his upper chest movement. He doesn't really have any ab crunch movement that I noticed, but that's just cool right there. Very cool. It's okay. It doesn't need the ab crunch movement. He's a robot, so it's fine. He doesn't seem to have any waist movement here, and that's not really a big deal. It's very cool. Very neat. Now with GeneBot's legs here, he has a nice range of motion. He can move his legs forward only about so far because it's hindered by his skirt, but side to side articulation, he can come way out and do pretty much a full split. So that's very neat and very cool. So this helps with a lot of dynamic poses and everything. One thing also too is even though he can't move his legs out that far to the front, you can rotate his leg around on the inside to kind of stabilize him on a lot of those special poses. So it's pretty cool. Very cool, very neat. Then GeneBot in his knees here, he is double jointed. So that's pretty cool. Nice exposure of the metal part, so it keeps that robot theme and feel. So very cool. Nice double jointed knee. Then here in his feet, his foot joint is pretty wild, pretty crazy right here. So GeneBot's foot, let's see if we can get some focus going on there. So GeneBot's foot, he can move it left and right, so it's pretty cool. And then what's crazy is His foot's not necessarily on a ball joint, because you can see right through this piece here. So I'm not sure what you call this, but it can go really far forward and pretty far back. If I can get it going back. Really far forward, really far back. Get that kind of back in sync, which is very cool. And then his toe articulation is pretty cool too. So he can get this very, very nice toe articulation right here. Now, there's no movement in this very front tip, but just this foot piece here. So it's very cool. So Jeanbot can do a lot of dynamic poses. You can probably set up some pretty cool running poses and everything. So very neat and very cool. So as a whole, Jeanbot is a very neat and very cool figure. A nice switch up. You know, he is a robot. And just a huge and nice surprise in the Ultrac line. So let's go ahead and conclude this review. So to conclude the review, Ultrac Jeanbot is another great entry in the line of the Ultra Act figures. Jeanbot has great paint applications, a fantastic sculpt, and also great articulation. It's so surprising for such a robot character to have all this nice articulation. So this is another great entry, and I highly recommend this figure to anyone who's a fan of the Ultrac line, Ultraman, Jeanbot, or anyone who's looking for just a hyper-articulated robot character itself. So it's very neat and very cool. So this has been another review by Diego Doom. Please stay tuned for more figure reviews, and thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe.